to The Real. Okay, before we begin, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, so if you are celebrating, we here at The Real wish you and your loved ones a very, very happy holiday. Ladies, let's get it started. Are you ready for some girl chat?
Let's go.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, because we got some juicy things to discuss. First up, Olivia Jade Giannulli, the daughter of actress Lori Loughlin and Massimo Giannulli, has finally broken her silence in regard to her parents' involvement in the college admission scandal. In an interview with Red Table Talk, Olivia actually said that she felt ashamed and embarrassed about the scandal. However, feels that she deserves a second chance to redeem herself and show growth. Olivia said in part, a huge part of having privilege is not knowing you have privilege. So when it was happening, it didn't feel wrong. I was in my own little bubble. Ladies, based on what she's saying, how do you feel about giving Olivia Jade a second chance at redemption?
Has she
Garcelle,
learned
you
anything?
nodding your head.
Right.
Has she learned anything? I mean, when we found out about this scandal, I believe Olivia Jade was on a yacht, right? So talk about privilege. And it's not an excuse because I have privilege I didn't know. As part of you being privileged, you should be around all kinds of people so you understand life. I think it's interesting that she was like, you know, I didn't understand, I was in a bubble. I do blame her parents, but I can't say that she was not in on it. I mean, they were photoshopping her picture on, you know, people who were really rowing on students. And to me, I'm just angry that the fact that maybe there was a kid that was really deserving of this slot at USC, and now they couldn't go because her parents paid their way through it. But I also feel like there's a thing about parents upping one another. You know what I mean? You want to say, oh,
Yeah.
my kid goes to this school. My kid speaks, you know, 3
Absolutely.
languages. And I think that's an upping. We're trying to up one another. You should know your kid. And she didn't seem like she wanted college. That was not her thing.
No, she did
She
not.
really wanted to be a social media influencer. She wasn't into it. So when she said she shouldn't have been there, she never got accepted. The person that they presented was not who they accepted. So to me, a second chance, yeah, of course, but she's got to earn it. Just to come on a show and talk about it to me is not her redeeming herself in any way.
Yeah, I think she should worry less about talking or asking whether or not she deserves a second chance and just start showing actionable change. If you really feel bad about this and you understand what kind of demise you caused for a lot of people and how disruptive this was to understand how the system worked, then start owning that and actually start working towards the people who don't have this privilege that you have. And what she basically said, she's not wrong. She's saying that ignorance is bliss, but that does not mean that that deserves a second chance. You making change and starting to behave in a way that really understands why you get, not just by the way, by being wealthy or having a famous mom, but just by being white allows you a privilege that you still don't understand. So take the time to really own that and show us. Don't ask about a second chance. Don't worry about that right now. Just go and do what you're supposed to do. Because let's also remember that in this, she also said things like, this is what everybody did this. Everybody just kind of did this, so it just seemed like the normal thing. I think that she is just saying, we got caught, and now give me a second chance because I didn't know. That's not the right time. She needs to understand that this world is based and catered for people like her. So now you gotta sit back and really humble yourself and learn all the things that you don't understand, especially when it comes to race.
I agree with Garcelle. I think that she knew because she took those pictures. I mean, you knew you weren't on the rowing team, and I'm pretty sure that her mom explained to her.
I know it's very serious, but when y'all show that picture,
okay,
I'm sorry, it's just so wide. Like Lonnie, am I bugging? Or like, I never knew that I heard or had obviously we can assume that these things happen, but to see it put out there so blatantly, like, girl, they put somebody else's, your head on someone else's body, and you put that picture up there right now.
Yeah.
It is
you knew that wasn't
wild.
At a certain point, you can't blame your parents. I would have rather for her to say, my mom made me do it, than to say, I didn't know. I was in a bubble. It ain't no
but
poor
then she
people.
would
I
have
don't
looked crazy
know.
that way too.
She
would have looked that crazy too.
Own it. She didn't own anything other than being embarrassed.
Exactly.
Didn't own it.
So that's all it is. Yeah.
Did
No, I
anybody
think
else
one
wonder
look,
why she was
obviously-
sitting up there alone having this conversation? Was anybody else wondering?
Because her
where your
parents are
mom
in
was?
prison.
Or her parents are in jail.
Because they in jail.
They're
like-
in jail.
But
Yeah.
no, I would have wanted to, but her mom knows she's doing this. I would have thought, like, some way, present something from your mom as well. Because if I was the mom in jail and my daughter was out there to sit for herself when I was the one that had full participation in putting her through it, I would have had some way to let her know, this is what I want to say on behalf of what's going on right now
First
as I'm
of all,
in jail. Like, you know what I mean?
get what you're saying. I
Again,
get what you're saying, Jeannie.
owning, responsibility.
But she's not owning. What she's trying to do
that's what
is
privilege is.
patronize. That's why she went to
Right.
3 black
Yes.
women and tried to patronize and tried
Yeah,
to,
that's why I-
That's why.
Yes. That's why I'm saying the
Come
bigger
on
issue
here
here
and-
is
and
not
say that.
understanding
I'm
your
gonna
privilege
question
on
your
race.
Okay?
She doesn't get it.
Guys, she's
She's not coming over here. I can tell you that right now.
Can we? I want
I'm
her
shooting
here.
this completely
Can we get
straight.
her
Do
here?
I believe that people deserve a second chance? Absolutely. In life, does she deserve a second chance in life? Absolutely. I'm with
Sure.
Jeannie in the sense that her second chance should not
Don't
be
worry
given
about that
to
right
her
now.
again by us. She needs to create her own second chance. It should not be
Thank
a
you,
handout
Adrian.
once again.
Yes.
And I think that is the issue, is that she's looking for a handout of her second chance, and we're saying, nah, yo, make your own lane, make it happen for yourself. Prove to the world that we are not who you appear to be, which is obviously a wildly privileged person who thinks that these kinds of actions
Yes.
are okay. I also think that the first step to fixing your privilege is, you know, they say no one is half the battle, and recognizing that you are privileged. Because like she said, most privileged people don't even recognize that they are privileged, which is
Right.
privilege in
Yeah,
itself.
but the whole point is, I
Right.
don't even understand. My whole point is, you went on a show and you're talking to 3 minority women that have gone through stuff, and you didn't even say, well, you know what, we're going to try to right this
I'm
wrong.
sorry.
We're going to try to maybe pay for somebody else's tuition.
Changed
I'm going to try to
behavior.
help some
Thank
people.
you.
You know, she didn't do anything. She just like,
She's
forgive
still on
me,
herself.
because I ain't know. Yeah, that's the
She's
whole. so-
still thinking about how she
Yeah.
can fix her image versus how can I fix the situation? What can I do
Right.
to make this right?
But and at
Right.
the end of the day, she still has money. She will be okay. Okay? There's a couple of blogs that might talk about you, but there are people out here at this time during this pandemic that cannot
can't
pay
eat.
their rent, they can't eat. And for her to not even, acknowledge any of that, which that's not her
Right.
problem, but it's like, what? You could have just been quiet. What you coming out here
Right.
telling us about?
Right.
You got money.
Right.
You'll be okay.
Yes.
Real
You'll be fine.
question.
And another-
Real question.
Yes, and-
Real question. Would you all view her differently if she came out and said, I am not going to take any of my inheritance from my parents, and I'm going to put it towards underprivileged minority children, inner city schools, to help
Absolutely.
children get a higher education? Would you view her differently?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She would never have, but
What's
yes,
the purpose of
course.
coming on a show
Absolutely.
if you're not going to
Jeannie
be
Jeannie
there?
says she would never.
Never.
But that would make
You're
me view
right,
her
Jeannie.
differently.
That would do it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
That's the
well-
whole point. So,
Don't come over here, girl, because we got questions.
Okay.
Up next, so many families are facing financial hardship right now. I mean, it is the real. But right now, due to the pandemic, however, many parents still want to put on a brave face for their children. And a recent Hollywood Unlocked post questioned how honest parents should be when it comes to money asking. Do you think it's appropriate for parents to vent about their financial problems to their kids? And while some people believed in being totally transparent, others felt it's better to keep the kids in the dark. So, ladies, what do you think is the right thing to do when it comes to finances and your children?
I think you should let kids be kids. I mean, you're a mom. I'm saying
Agreed.
when I grew up,
Really?
my mom didn't tell me we was poor. Okay, I didn't know. I just knew that we wouldn't get no Christmas presents. She said, "Now, look, we ain't getting no toys this year." But she always found a positive. She would say, "But you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna eat. We're gonna have a nice dinner, and we're gonna be together, and all that." And I was like, "I want a Barbie doll." But she never got into specifics. She never vented about,
Yeah.
that she had this low-paying job. And I appreciated that because she let me
Yeah.
be a child. Now, I don't know, Garcelle, you're a mom. You can speak on this
No,
more.
I agree with you. I don't think we should burden our kids with our financial problems. I really don't, especially when they're young. I think when they get into maybe the teens and you're trying to show them what finance is or let them know. I remember once this woman came to school to talk to us, to parents, and she said, don't say you can't afford something. Say, I choose to use my money for. And that way it gave the kids more of a choice. Like you have a choice of what you spend money on. But I don't think they should be burdened with like, we can't pay rent, we can't do this, because they take that on. Like if we're unhappy in our homes, I think kids take that on. They don't need that burden. But I think you definitely need to teach financial responsibility at a certain age, you know? If we buy this month, maybe we shouldn't buy this, you know? We have to save. So you got to spend a little, save a little, and give back a little bit. I think if we do that, then I think we're in a good place.
I agree with both of
That's
you
my
guys,
opinion.
but I want to say that if my parents left me out of any topic of finances, I don't think I'd be the conscientious person that I would today. So for example, yes, worrying me by telling me that we didn't have much would definitely set some trauma in me. And I definitely remember, you know, what that felt like when I started to worry about those things. But what I appreciated is understanding what we had was based on how my parents worked. Like we didn't just have it. So if we were eating well and we could keep the air conditioning on in the summer, that was because Dad was working a stable job and it was good, and I remember what that was like. He didn't point that out, but I remembered it. And then I remember my mom being honest about, Dad is at home now because he got laid off, so we have to look for different jobs. Let's be more conscientious. Let's turn down the AC. If it's not too hot, go outside and play. Don't turn it on because it costs money. And also, when you eat, drink all of your soda. Don't save because we have to buy more. All of a sudden, I drew the connection that, oh, I really just thought these things just appeared, and AC is supposed to be on because it's hot. But no, all of a sudden I appreciated that my dad has to go to work, and when he goes to work, when he comes home, I had a more thankfulness of like, the food is on the table because of you, Dad, thank you. And later on when my mom worked, the same thing too. And so I think it's really important for kids to know that if they're like, oh, you never buy me anything, I'd be like, okay, look at the bed you sleep in, look at the house we're in, that food we're about to have at 7 p.m.
Mom always does
Yeah,
that.
that's
is what I
important,
bought
too.
you. Like,
Listen.
we gotta remember where money comes from and to appreciate what we have. And you can only have
Yeah,
that by
but
talking to your kids somewhat about finances.
That being said, what I did get from my mom was like, you can't take it with you. So she would spend. And I definitely got that from her.
But guys, I'm hearing you all talk, and we all came from humble beginnings. And I
Yeah.
feel like that built character in each and every one of us. And I truly believe that there is something about those humble beginnings that made us who we are today, that got us to where we are today. So I actually feel like while I don't think you should burden a child with your financial woes, it is okay to be transparent. And when I say that, I mean like making them recognize the value of money and also making them recognize that money isn't everything. So I grew up, you know, with my mom literally being very honest with me that we didn't have. And I understood that although we didn't have, we were still happy. And that was what was important.
That's
Yes.
what my
So
mom did.
yeah,
But
we
I
don't
think
have
what they're
that,
talking
but we have
about-
joy in our hearts, and we have God, and we have each other, and family is what really matters, right? So she made me recognize that, and I literally have memories that some could consider
Yeah.
trauma, but to me, I consider a huge blessing of my mom
But-
literally knowing that she didn't have money to pay rent, going to the mailbox, and literally opening the mailbox, and some extra money came in that she wasn't expecting, getting on her knees in front of the mailbox and crying out of gratitude and
Oh,
gratefulness and being like, God always
wow.
provides.
Wow.
Provision is a real thing. Like, God always comes through. And me
Yes, he does.
recognizing that moment and going, wow, I recognize that there are people that don't have. I know what it's like not to have, but most importantly, money is not what brings me happiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think this was more about don't burden the child, don't blame the child because you don't have.
Oh,
Because I know there are a lot of
Right.
single mothers out
Yeah.
there. They're mad, they're frustrated. Don't take it out on the child. Ladies, this Saturday is the big Versuz battle between two R&B queens, Keisha Cole and Ashanti, and everyone is going crazy in anticipation for the soulful showdown, especially Cardi B. Cardi took to Twitter to issue a warning to her man and all men around the world on what to expect Saturday night, saying, quote, warning to all you mans out there, including mine, be nice. The day of Ashanti versus Keisha versus battle is going to be a lot of singing with this face on you. This the face. Ladies,
Accurate.
is Cardi right? What emoji faces will you be making during the versus battle?
I'm not so worried about the
holding my
faces I'm going to
chest.
be making. I'm worried about the decibels that are going to be coming from my house as I belt these songs of my childhood. As I like ring clear to the high skies above exactly who that boy that was never in my life that I imagined from nowhere broke my heart. Like that's exactly the pain that's going to be coming from me.
Yes, and some of these songs are so memorable in the sense that, like, you remember exactly where you were when these songs dropped.
Yes.
You remember the relationship you were in. You remember
Yes.
why you related to that song so well, who you dedicated to that song. Let me not even start. You guys, you know the song that Keisha Cole had? I know I can't sing it, but you need to get if he don't wanna love you the right way, he ain't gonna. It starts like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Remember
yes,
they
yes,
would
yes, yes.
always play that song, the DJ, at our live set before the show started? Remember that?
I
And we would
remember.
be like in backstage, like, yes, that was the joint before we would walk out onto stage.
All I know
so
is-
I just have so many memories.
I cannot wait.
The second I hear,
cannot
but
wait.
my days are cool without you, it's on. Like I'm going to.
Oh,
Oh, it's
Belt.
over. Belt.
Foolish?
Yes.
Foolish?
Oh,
Don't let me hit the
Foolish
baby,
is
baby,
so
baby,
good.
baby,
And
baby.
baby.
Oh, yes.
I was just gonna say that. This is going to be
Oh,
so
oh,
fun.
oh.
It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait. And I think that's what music does. Music takes you back to where you were, what you
Yes.
were doing, who you were into. And I love that Cardi B, being as big as she is, she's on the top of her game. For her to be girl fanning out about these two ladies, I think is really cool. It's gonna be so
Yes.
fun.
But why is it, okay, real talk, when you guys were singing these songs, did you really have a person in your life that you were that mad at or that you were that checked
Yes.
in? I used to drive in my
Yes,
car.
I did.
Oh, you really did?
Yes, I did.
It wasn't that
I
bad
did,
on my
yeah.
end, but I sang it like
She
that
said
boy
yes.
did me
I
so
did.
wrong and I literally was single.
I was foolish.
Oh
The
my
song
God.
Foolish is about me. Me.
I love that
Foolish.
song.
Drea Kelly was recently interviewed by the Jasmine brand and decided to clap back at people who accused her of always dropping her ex's name. Now, Drea says she doesn't understand why people have an issue, saying in part, I've always talked about my journey. Unfortunately, he was a part of the journey, so you can't have one without the other. In some people's minds, I will forever be R. Kelly's ex-wife, and that is fine. I don't have a problem with that. Ladies, how do you feel about Drea saying what she's saying?
She has the right to tell her story. I 100% agree that she has the right to share her story. I thought the part that was confusing to me was how you can share such terrible things about a man and still walk around with his name. That to me was very interesting and very telling in her story, where she said, I still go by Drea Kelly because I think I don't know the exact quote, but it pretty much said that like she put in blood, sweat, and tears to get that name. And I said, well, what has that name gotten
What are
you?
you, Tina
Shame?
Turner?
Right.
Like, what has
Well,
that name brought you? I never understand personally why women who hate their ex-husbands or who continue and proceed to speak badly about their ex-husbands still proudly tote around the last name. If you,
You
don't
know
like
why.
that man, why are you rocking his last name?
Well, I'll tell.
Right.
I want to say this so it doesn't feel like it falls on deaf ears that she said this. She has said this in an interview before, where she keeps the last name because she is a Kelly. She gets the interviews. She books the dates.
No, we know she's his
Exactly.
wife.
So she's owning.
know
I just
she's
want to
his
say
wife.
she's right, but she's owning the fact that yes, I know I have a monstrous name to me, but it gets me the jobs and feeds my kids. So I'm owning that.
It's
I'm
worth
going to write
it.
that out.
We don't even want to play the
it
songs.
doesn't-
Why you want the name?
What job?
Right. I just want to say the opinion is that whether or not it's worth it, but she does own it. She's not sitting here blindly like, I don't try to ride.
My thing is
and
you
get jobs.
can't
She definitely
you can't
owns that.
speak so poorly about somebody, and she has the right to speak
Right.
poorly about him because that has been her
Right.
journey. But at the same way, parade
it's
the
nasty.
name as if it's some badge of
terrible.
honor.
Right.
Like
Yeah, I feel you.
people are literally considering playing his music, but you're like, I want to carry the name. I feel like she honestly at this point would have, and obviously we respect her coming out and sharing her story. I think that takes a lot of courage to do that. She was a victim. I understand that completely, but I think we almost would respect the fact if she separated herself from that and continued to tell her story on her own, because I do believe that at this point,
But what
she is
Jeannie
a
just
standing
said, nobody would
individual
book her.
on her own.
We
I
would
would
know
book
her
her
as Drea.
first.
Nobody
would
Without the
book her.
name. I disagree.
Nobody would
I would
know
book
her.
her
We
without the
would
name.
know. Munchkin. Really?
Without the name, by the way, you guys, people would still
Drea
pick my mother.
Williams?
She's Nilda Alicea Felix. We don't have the same last name.
She said
She's my
Drea
mom.
Williams.
Not Drea Williams. I changed the
If
brand
she
completely.
wasn't using his name.
No,
she
the name,
didn't
the
get
name,
the
the
interview.
name triggers. It does. The name triggers. But let me
It
ask you this.
does.
Forget
It
about what
triggers
this
what,
woman
though?
is doing.
Good
let
or
me ask
bad?
you this. Bad, but that's what she's writing. She's making money off telling the story of what her experience was like. So she's not owning it. I just want to say she absolutely is doing what we're saying. So she's not blindsided. She's absolutely doing what you just said. It's just our opinion on whether or not that's the right thing to do. Drea wants to make money, and if making money means having the last name Kelly to trigger you and use as her business card, she wants that. She
Maybe
owns
I
that.
just believe
She's
more
not
in
lying
her.
about
I
it.
believe that she can do it without it.
That's why
I believe that
that's
she has
why we
story
love
to
you,
tell.
Munchkin.
She's talented.
Yeah.
She can dance. She has a lot she
We
can do
got
without
you.
his name.